Coaching Roundtable. So we have started this initiative called as Guest Speaker Session, wherein we are going to invite a guest once a month so that the guest can impart knowledge on agile ways of working or practices and so on. So today we have Vamsi Krishna Kakkireni as a guest speaker, and for that matter, he is our first guest in this guest speaker session. So, welcome, Vamshi, and we are very excited to have you here. And before I uh, pass on to you, I would just like to introduce Vamshi to everyone. Uh, Vamshi is an agile coach working in Pega. And to talk about his experience, he has got extensive experience uh, in different roles such as an agile coach, Scrum Master, developer, tester, BA, and whatnot. He's also a blogger. He has won second place in Agileathon in 2021. He's been a speaker at Regional Scrum Gathering 2020 and also a winner of Agileathon 8 Sprint Marathon. And he was also a speaker at Agile Network India 2019 event in Hyderabad, and also a speaker at Discuss Agile Day Delhi in 2019. So if I go on speaking about him, it would be, it would take entire session to talk about him and to just talk about some certifications that he has done. He has done like ICP, ACC, PAL, EBM, PSM2, DevOps, CDP, KMP1, SAFE SA, PSPO, PSD, SSGB, Pega CSA, PSM1, PSK1, and whatnot. So, how I know Vamshi is, it's a very interesting story. I would like to tell this to everyone, and everyone should know about this story, whoever has joined. So I had an opportunity to get interviewed by Vamshi for Pega Systems in the last year. And up till then, I was in my head, I was like a very good Scrum Master back then, and an Agile coach. So I was like, I know most of the things. I'll not say I know everything. I'll say at that point of time, I was thinking I know most of the things. I'll crack the interview like this, and I'm going to get this offer for sure. To my surprise, the way Vamshi has interviewed, that has been an eye opener. And he was like showing a mirror to me, saying that, indirectly, boss, you don't know much. You are just at a surface level. The amount of knowledge Vamshi has and the passion that he has towards Agile, I cannot tell you. The way he questioned, the way of interviewing. So it was almost an hour. He took interview for an hour, and in that 1 hour, I had different emotions. It started with a very cool kind of a thing, very confident person, me as a confident person. Then after some time, the confidence dropped bits and bits, and then he asked me so many questions and he made me think in a deeper level. Until that point, I was just playing at a surface level as a Scrum Master, and I was just thinking about tools, processes, and all of that. Vamshi was the person who made me go deeper in terms of rationale behind doing what we do in Scrum. He is so thorough with a Scrum guide, and in the middle of the call, I got so agitated that why is this person grilling so much? I'm not understanding what this person is expecting from me and what he wants out of me. It's like I have searched through all the corners of my head, but I'm not able to find out what that was that he is looking for. And it was a hell lot of experience to start with. And in the middle of the interview is when I started understanding, oh, this is what he's trying to get out of me. That is when I started enjoying that interview. And in the even towards the end of that interview, there was some network issue and the call got disconnected. He made a point that he called me on my mobile number to continue the discussion. So, and he gave me feedback in that interview itself that these are the areas that you have to focus. So this interview was like a life-changing event for me, and I cannot forget that interview and the knowledge or the areas that he tapped on is like commendable. So that's what Vamshi is for you. I'm not warning or scaring anyone, but it's his passion that it shows towards agile. So we share a common point, common goal, that is we have passion for agile. Is why we are having Vamshi today here. And after that interview, trust me, I started lot of self learning, and people who know me, I do a lot of engagement over LinkedIn, right? So that is the reason why. I mean, he was the thought provoker for me, and that is the reason why we get so much deep into learning and self learning. And Vivek had witnessed that interview, and he actually seen me go through that graph of images, emotions, and whatnot. So without much ado, I'll open it for Vamshi, and Vamshi, all yours. Please, you can start with your session.
Thanks a lot, Ramya. Thanks for the great introduction. Humbled, honored to present it here. And uh, I don't want to scare. I hope Ramya has not scared you all. I'm always happy to share my knowledge. So feel free to reach out to me in case of any clarification if we are unable to do it in this session. Always open to discuss. So with that, let's get started. Sharing my screen. Is this visible?
No, not yet.
Yet. Now?
No, Vamshi.
No, Vamshi. Maybe try turning off the camera and sharing the screen if that could work. Yes, now it's visible.
Okay. Okay. Ramya has given an introduction, so I'm skipping that. Let's get started. How Scrum Master can help the team in quitting smoking. So as the topic is about smoking, I thought of asking how many of you smoke, but I want to stop myself. I don't want to get into your personal habits. So, and again, no worries. I'm not going to preach that smoking is injurious to health, but what if our teams are having the habit of smoking? How do we know what happens? What are the effects of it? What is the impact on the product that we deliver on the customer? Let's see that. And I'm talking about smoking, and I'm also talking about Scrum Master. So what's the connection between these two? So let's dive deep to understand better what's the connection and how do we fix it, or how do we help them quitting. So I'm going to talk about the smoking behaviors, not about the smoking tobacco or anything else. So S stands for somber, which means team is somber, which means lacking energy in all the events, meetings, processes, activities, whatever that they do. So what happens if a team is lacking energy? Anyone want to share any insights, thoughts? What happens if team is somber? Or how do we know that our team is somber? What are the signs that we need to look out for? Any thoughts?
Lack of participation and interest.
Right. Right. Any other answers?
Yeah. Team not talking in the
retrospectives or team just highlighting means some of the person in the team highlighting a problem and no one is ready to speak on that problem or suggest anything.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'm going to share now. This is the trait or this is the behavior of the team. And how do we catch it? How do we know that our team is having this behavior? So signs to look out for: team not opening up in meetings, as you rightly said.
Vamshi, your voice is not clear actually. There is a lot of disturbance. Not sure if it's just for me or for everyone.
Ramya, it was the same. Actually,
I think
Vamsi's on mute. Yeah, and
yeah,
someone
it's
else
on
was
mute.
unmute.
Let me just unmute him here.
We're still unable to hear, by the way. At least I'm unable
Am I
to.
audible?
Yeah, yeah, you're
Just
audible.
now, just now.
Okay. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My apologies. Not sure what happened, but yeah. So team not opening up in the meetings or events or any meetings, discussions happening just for the sake of it. Team unable to meet the agenda. It could be in the backlog refinements where team unable to come up with the features or epics or stories in a ready state even after multiple refinements because they don't have the energy, which means all in all team is not delivering or we are not getting the desired value, etc. So from here onwards, in most of the slides, you could see etc., which means the signs are not limited to these. You have to figure out what are the signs in your organization context, in your team context. So look out for smoking signs which are unhealthy to your team, to your organization. So as for somber, let's move on. Team members manipulating the facts and figures. Anyone want to share some insights, thoughts? Why do they manipulate, or how do they manipulate, or when do they manipulate?
I think fear.
Right. The fear of something, fear of rejection, whatever. Any other answers?
If there is lack of transparency.
Lack of transparency, yes. Or
Trust
what?
factor
Unable to
maybe.
meet the commitments.
Correct. Trust factor, commitment, or yeah. On what ways they manipulate? Where exactly they have a chance to manipulate? Where do they do that?
Progress of their work.
Right. Progress of their work. Yes. So let's look into
Any
those signs. Yeah.
and one more thing is that any underlying problem that they are seeing, but it's not impacting directly to their task or anything, so they hide it.
Right. Right. So team not meeting definition of done, but still accepting the stories or getting those accepted. They were hiding it. Introducing non-technical debt, which means they are taking shortcuts, which means they know that they are going to impact, they are going to hit them in the long run, but still introducing technical debt in the rush of delivering things. Their refinement could be the issue or their skills could be the issue, whatever. So introducing non-technical debt, bumping up story points, creating a false positive impression that they are delivering great, they are delivering more. As you all know, story points or average velocity is not an indicator of performance or quality, but just an input to planning. It could be the input to sprint planning or a release planning, or it's an indicator of predictability. So bumping up story point, a 3-pointer, making it a 5-pointer doesn't give us any value, but still team may do that considering that as a performance or quality, or they wanted to be in the cushion of the comfort. So these are the signs that team members may manipulate, or it could be the scrum masters. A fear of having rejection in the team may be indicator. Maybe scrum masters may get a feeling that they are accountable for this and they may also be part of the game. So look out for those signs. Here when I say team, it also could be the product owner or a scrum master, not just the developers. So that's what M is all about. M for manipulating the facts and figures. Next one. O for obsolete or O for outdated. So team is not acting on the obsolete tools, techniques, practices. Is my screen still visible? I could see some
Yes.
error here.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
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 It's visible. It's visible, but your video is frozen. Vamshi, you're not audible. I'm just checking with Vamshi. Give me a moment. And sorry for the inconvenience.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the side effects of working from home. Please don't consider this also as smoking behavior from me, but
No, bro.
the network issue. I'm coming up with this talk answer that's a network issue. Okay, is this visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So team not acting on the obsolete tools, techniques, and practices, or it could also be the outdated stuff, the outdated processes that are in place. So any answers? What could be obsolete or what are outdated, inefficient, ineffective, outdated? So it could be the code that needs refactoring, which means outdated code, dead code, junk code, or processes like code reviews, test case reviews, bugs root cause analysis are happening, but just for the sake of it, not adding value because those are outdated, obsolete, not adding value, ineffective engineering practices, or lack of engineering practices. When I say engineering practices, you all must be aware, it could be the CI/CD practices, it could be automation, test-driven development, acceptance test-driven development. See if those are in place. If in place, are those really effective? Are those outdated? What needs to be added? What flavor is missing? What is the effectiveness quotient of those practices? So that's about O, the outdated or the obsolete. Next comes the interesting piece, the K. K stands for know it all. Team members, few or all, or even one. Team members with know it all attitude. Not sure if they are really aware about everything. They really know it all. Sometimes it could be the case, but not sure, but that has to be validated. So what are the side effects of team members having know it all attitude? Anyone faced this? Any scenarios or what are the effects that you could think of with this behavior?
Limited scope of learning.
Sorry?
Limited scope of learning, if that is the
Correct.
attitude.
Right, limited learning. Yeah.
Then I think dominating any conversation and appearing to be or presenting like knows everything, like a we can say full of
Right.
confidence.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Dominating the conversations, not giving opportunity to others to speak their mind. That's right.
So the presence could be intimidating to the extent, like as you said, that it wouldn't allow others to open up. So
Perfect.
they would kind of fall quiet
Right.
or silent, which we do not want. We want participation from each and everyone, as
Right.
much as can be. And we also want to encourage environments such that a conducive environment for everyone to grow.
Perfect. Yes. So because of that know-it-all attitude with the team members, there will be definitely be a huge dense knowledge gaps in the team. And of course, team will not be able to challenge the status quo. They may not be able to get enough clarifications, and the questions will be open, and they will also lose the interest. And with that, everyone will be exhibiting these poor listening skills, and obviously will be hitting the collaboration, and etc. There could be multiple other signs that you can watch out. And next one, which is important in driving the effectiveness, team is impaired. I for impaired. Either the team members could be impaired technically or your domain wise, whatever the domain or the area that your product, that your organizations are associated with. So what happens if we are technically impaired? Of course, the value will not be delivered on time, and the committed versus completed will take a hit. We will not be predictable in our deliveries, not completing as committed, or we will take too long to complete. And during our estimation process, we may size it as a low priority, a 1-pointer or 2-pointer, but still, which means we are agreeing that committing that the complexity is less, the effort for executing it is less, but still it takes too long to finish, which means the user stories may spill over. We are not delivering value on time, or because of lack of proper skill, lack of domain knowledge, the end product may also result in poor quality. So which means customer satisfaction will be hit. So if you are observing that there are lot of bugs that are getting leaked to production, which means if you are getting too many customer bugs, and if you are consistently seeing the team missing the committed versus completed consistently, once in a while we should be flexible. It happens. We are agile. Let's accept the reality. But if it is consistently missing the sprint goal, there is a sign that we have to watch out for, and look out for customer bugs, look out for team happiness index, etc. And for negativity in the team, how do you know what are the signs? You can watch out in the daily scrum. You can watch out in the refinement retros team not respecting each other. There will be negativity, the blame game, his fault, her fault, not mine. And you can see the negligence here. And for negligence, it could be the negligence on the priorities. It could be negligence on the quality. So negativity, being non-responsive to the priorities. As agile, you all know, we may have change in priorities during the release or during sprinting, but let's try to meet as long as it is within the sprint goal, within the release goal that you are planned for. And if we are unable to meet even the 5% of the change in the sprint or in the release, let's call that explicitly that we are not agile enough to satisfy our customer. So those are the signs with N: negativity, non-responsive, and negligence to quality, and non-responsive to priorities, etc. The next one, yeah. So these are the signs and many more. The next one, G for guilty. Team is guilty of their failures. So one generic question to you all: is a failure bad?
No.
Okay. Any other answers? Is a failure bad?
To an extent, it is not
I
till the
think
time the
No.
team is learning something out of it. I mean,
Mhm.
even if they are failing, there needs to be some learning, provided that they understand how they can avoid doing it in future.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would
So
say it
let
is conditional.
Failing at the same thing is bad.
sorry, what was that? Failing?
Failing at the same thing again and again is bad.
Right. Right. So let me challenge you all. So imagine
So one
you
thing,
have
I have one thing to say. I have a quick thing to say, just see if it makes sense. I mean, are there any failures in Scrum? Do we consider that? Because they usually say that we do not consider any failures in Scrum. It's always learning that it is. So, yeah, that's the
so
one point I want to make.
So
yeah,
Vamsi, I also one point just to add. Sorry for interruption.
no problem.
So failure, I think it is based on the situation at what time and how we have failed, as per my view.
Right, right. So let me challenge you all. So consider you have placed a product in Amazon, be it mobile phone or some shirt or something, and either they failed to deliver on time or they have delivered you a buggy product. So as a customer, you accept that saying, okay, that's their learning. Let me accept this. A failure is good. Let them learn. Do you all accept that? Or do you simply
No,
return by giving the feedback?
return.
You will be brutally honest in giving the feedback and you will return that item, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So let's place ourselves in the shoes of a customer. Let's be a customer. So failure, someone said it's conditional. That's right. So failure may be bad if we are consistently failing, if we are not learning. A failure may be good if your team or organizations are having the culture of experimentation. Let's say if your team is at the highest level of maturity, like consistently delivering valuable stuff, delivering with good quality, or it's a reasonable quality, and you have dedicated time for learning, innovation, experimentation. You tried with one experiment and that failed. That is absolutely fine. That is good. You will learn out of it. So failures are conditional, but here the scenario is team is guilty of their failures. So we should understand the root cause. Why are they guilty? Is that failure good or bad? What scenario is the team failed? What are the reasons? What is the ecosystem here? So signs of a team being guilty for their failures, not being transparent, no culture of experimentation, no culture of appreciation, no culture of innovation, time for continuous learning, no psychological safety in the team, which means they don't ask questions, they don't challenge each other, they don't try something. And of course, if they fail, they'll be guilty because the environment is not safe for them to express themselves. So these are the smoking behaviors of a team, and I'm sure even the teams that I'm working with or everyone is working with, at least one or more will be there because Agile is not a journey. Agile is not a destination, it's a journey. It's a continuous learning and improvement journey. So we have to deal with it. We have to improve the environment. We have to help the team in quitting those smoking behaviors. I know you must be wondering, okay, boss, we have understood what the smoking behaviors of a team. Let's get into the ways. How do we fix it? So without a delay, let's get the ways. How can we help them quitting? So just to give you a snapshot, what we have covered so far: somber, manipulative, obsolete, outdated, know-it-all, impaired, negativity, negligence, non-responsive, guilty. So this is how a team will be ill, will be unhealthy, and there will be impact on the product and also the customers with your quality, with you being late. So we are not just impacting us, we are also affecting customers' health with our smoking. Same as in real life smoking, we are also spoiling the people who stand nearby, their health also. So similarly, our customer health also may get spoiled with these smoking behaviors of a team. Target area mapping, who should fix it, how can we fix it, who can fix it, when can we fix it? Let's look into those. So what I thought, rather than fixing it, rather than giving a band-aid as a temporary relief, the root cause has to be hit. And again, as I'm saying, we are not limited to these. And you may add n number of root causes that depending upon your team's context, your organization context with respect to your product. So I'm just sharing few root causes, but not limited to these. So if a team is exhibiting this, what could be the root causes if a team is lacking energy in their events? Maybe they are lacking fun, which means not the dedicated fun which is run by Scrum Master in the retrospective. I'm not talking about that. Maybe even if you have a session a dedicated time forcefully for some a fun activity, that could be forceful. That team may not be really loving it or enjoying it. The fun factor, the enjoyment should be in all the processes that we do. It could be in any event, or they may be lacking the motivation. So that's the reason they are lacking energy. They are manipulative because they don't know the value of the product that they are delivering. They are lacking motivation. They don't have enough learning opportunities. So they don't know what needs to be improved. They are not clear on the value of the team to product, value of the product that they are delivering to customer, and value of the customer to the organization. Here, when I say value, it is not one to one, not one to many, but many to many. And know it all attitude, they may be missing the learning, the continuous improvement areas, and again, the areas can go on. So in a nutshell, it could be fun, the motivation, the value proposition, the continuous learning, the continuous improvements, psychological safety. So all these are the root causes to fix. Now let's see how can we fix it. And before that, who can fix it? Need not be Scrum Master, of course. This is the session where I'm talking about Scrum Master, but any servant leader, any enthusiast, any leader, whoever wants to serve, whoever wants to lead, not by the title but by the role, they can fix it. And Scrum Master can also try to fix it. So how to fix? When I say motivation, if these are the target areas, if these are the root causes to fix, let's go deep. How to fix? When I say motivation, it could be lack of intrinsic motivation or lack of extrinsic motivation. How to fix the intrinsic motivation area? So try to discuss with the team, understand if they are not loving their work, see if they can change the work, see if they can work on a different set of features or in a different team or a different technical expertise or with a different tool. Give them additional responsibility, not the regular ones. Try to give them the responsibility of training the team or improving something. Extrinsic motivation, it could be awards, rewards, time off, team outings, etc. Have fun. The icebreakers, it could be in the daily scrum, it could be in the retros, team building activities. You can have some dedicated time, team outing, team-based retrospectives. Very, very important. Bring in some change in your regular retrospectives. Spice it up with different templates, different formats. Do not just go with what went well, what can be improved. That doesn't lead us anywhere. So team outing. So I have done this literally, not all, but I have shared few ideas, but majority of this I have tried. For example, this, we couldn't start our daily scrum on time, but I cannot enforce the team. So I have given the option of asking two things. So we used to have a daily scrum at 11 a.m. in the morning. So I asked the team, as everyone is late by 2 minutes, shall we have a daily scrum at 11 a.m. or a latecomer to share a joke at the end of the daily scrum? Which one do you want? That's it. By asking the questions, they know the importance of joining on time, which means they are not just respecting their time, but also respecting others who have joined on time. And what we have done, they really didn't like the idea of postponing the meeting to the daily scrum event to 11 a.m. So they opted for sharing the joke at the end of daily scrum. That way we had fun, and that way we also had everyone on time. So theme-based reviews, not just retrospectives, but this is an interesting thing. You can also change the way you have your sprint reviews. I can share a couple of things in the upcoming slides. So help them understand the importance of finished product. As I said, place themselves in the role of a customer. Ask them to consider the scenario of ordering a product in Amazon. So I can share the recent experience that I've had with my teams. So a couple of times I see a user story open in progress even during sprint reviews. What does that mean? Open in progress event during sprint review. Team says that everything is done except the small thing. Everything is done except the merge. Everything is done except a small configuration change, which is not done. So either it will be done or not done. Even except 1% is, we are still not giving, our product is not ready to be pushed to prod or not ready to be delivered to customer. Because if Amazon delivery guy says everything is ready except delivery, everything is ready except shipping, will we be happy? No, we will be disappointed. We will be dissatisfied. So help them understand by using these tips, by coaching them, help them they understand the importance of finished product. Ask them to place themselves in the role of a customer. And how do we give the learning opportunity? Work with your leadership, have some dedicated time for hackathons, challenge the team with hackathons, have some quiz, have some technical workshops, or it could be user story writing workshops. And there is a myth that only a product owner should write end-to-end epic end-to-end user story with clear-cut acceptance criteria. No, it could be a workshop, working session with entire team. A Scrum Master can also share his or her inputs. Developers can share the technical feasibility aspect, and you can also break the monotony there. Uh, Most of the times, in my experience, I have seen product owners or teams forfeiting the format of writing acceptance criteria. As a user, I have done this so that this will be the impact. You need not forfeit this to every user story. Change the way you write acceptance criteria. You can try the Gherkin format given when then scenarios. The cucumber accepted given the scenario when this happens, then this happens. Even when then as a user, or you can simply write it in plain English. Who, what, when, why is the simple scope, or what is the expectation out of a feature or a user story, and have some leaderboard with out of the box ideas, and encourage the team to log the ideas and also implement, drive those to closure. So continuous improvement, how can we improve continuously? By placing themselves in the role of a customer, by explaining them the importance of finished product, and most importantly, do not have retros for the sake of it. I believe in evidence-based management. Give them the data-driven metrics. What is the history? What is the data? I'm going to show that in the next slides. So, if these are the root causes, if you want to fix this, but if you are not aware about the signs, but still what all a Scrum Master can do, have the one-on-one connect with your developers, with your product owner, with the leadership, and have once in a while have this connect, establish that connect with customer. I see most of the organizations are not having, the teams are not having the direct connect with customer. Let us have it once in a while so that we understand what are our customer wishes and wants. How are we going to impact on their lives? What value we are going to deliver with our product? Measure psychological safety and improve it. You Google it, you can have hundreds of ways where you can measure psychological safety in your team. If you want my way of measuring it, you can also reach out to me. I have developed a questionnaire where you can run the survey anonymously so that you get the psychological safety and what are the areas where you are scoring low, that you can work with the leadership, with your team to improve those. Bring in the culture of experimentation and appreciation, etc. So let's not try to give the band-aid to any of the breakages, any of the wounds, injuries, but let's try to dig the root cause and try to cure the root cause rather than dealing with at the surface level, try to dig deep. So Scrum Master, Superman, or normal man with superpowers, team health assessment. Okay, let me share that. I have developed this maybe 5 years ago, so you don't see any out of the world stuff here. It is simple, plain vanilla or simple banana milkshake. You can tweak this to suit your needs. What are the areas that root causes that your teams are exhibiting smoking behaviors? Have those as the rows here and try to come up with the characteristics, the scaling model, and run this as an anonymous survey. And in fact, you don't even have to do this exercise. Now, these days, we have hundreds of such assessment tools available free online. Go and search any team health assessment, measure it, and see what needs to be improved. And remember, that has to be anonymous if your team is not feeling the environment as safe. So build an idea board with a number of ideas proposed, implemented, etc. Reward them, whoever is implementing and having some positive impact on the product or on the customers. Measure and help them improve their happiness index. Measure, most important aspect, improve the team's happiness index. Again, there are a number of ways, because I'm not prescribing here what is happiness, because happiness is relative. I cannot define your happiness. So define, understand, brainstorm with your team, what is happiness to them. Is it committed versus completed percentage, 100%, is that happiness to them? Or interacting with customer, happiness to them? Or measuring the usage index of your product, is that happiness? So understand your team's happiness and discuss with them, try to work on it. And again, there are n number of tools available online to measure your team's happiness index. Break the monotony in Scrum events. How can a Scrum Master break the monotony in Scrum events? What can we do? This is a simple template where you can try every day. You can come up with a different template. On Mondays, you can ask the team member just as an icebreaker to break the monotony. Ask them what they have done for the weekend and what is their plan for Monday. And healthy Tuesdays, you can share a health tip maybe at the start or maybe at the end of the daily Scrum. And Wednesdays, try to target a finished item, which means during the sprint planning itself, you will target an item. You can impose work in progress limits, and you can entire team can focus on those 1 or 2 items, which is your work in progress limit for your team. Try to finish that and try to demo that internally in your daily Scrum itself so that you can get early feedback from each other and also from your product owner. You need not wait till end of the sprint review. Trash out Thursday. What can be knocked out? What can be delivered? Fun Friday. Share any joke, share any aha moment, favorite movie dialogues. Have some fun in your daily Scrum, along with the discussion of are we on track with respect to the sprint goal, what help is needed and all. You can throw the dice if you are in office. You can have on a round robin basis, etc. And fourth question, which means what can we close today? What is harming our sprint goal? How is fun at work? Fourth question from any member goes to parking lot because we have a 15-minute is the guideline here to be focused. And just FYI, there are few organizations where every developer in the daily Scrum, they literally will be in a plank position so that they will quickly finish their daily Scrum updates. Plank position literally in a conference room in their daily Scrums. We may not be able to do that being remote, so you can consider fourth question to the parking lot to the 16th minute discussion. So backlog refinement, rather than simply discussing what is there in the acceptance criteria, you can just try to answer this. Who is going to get benefited? Who is asking this? What is our approach? Why are we doing this? Could be the questions in your refinements, along with your definition of done. Backlog marketing for prioritization, mind mapping for tasks, which means granular task breakdown for all the user stories during your sprint planning, and fruit sizing for stories. Why only Fibonacci series? Why only t-shirt sizing? Just change anything. Go with fruits, go with vegetables, go with animals. Just break the monotony wherever you can, whatever way that you can bring in some spice, some zeal, enthusiasm in your discussions events. Sprint reviews. There is a myth that only retrospective templates format can be changed, but not sprint reviews. No. Even today, with the stats that I'm going to share, 50% of the teams in the organizations are only considering sprint reviews as only the demo part. They are missing the review aspect. Part 1, demo what you have accomplished. Part 2, review the backlog. Are we on track with respect to the release? Or what is left? What we have achieved? What is there in the backlog? What are our upcoming priorities being mixed? And along with that, demo plus review, rather than just talking or demonstrating for 1.5 to 2 hours, go for 1 to 2 minute short spotlight videos. Maybe you can share it one day in advance for the completed items or even before the sprint review. For that matter, you need not even go through the WebEx or the Teams recording. The customers or stakeholders can simply watch the 1 to 2 minutes demo video. That way you are also breaking the monotony in the sprint reviews. Storytelling. Change the theme every time. Maybe you can try the storytelling as a storyteller, as a director, narrator. You can tell the story, your movie. Consider you sprint as a movie and narrate what are the lows, what are the highs, what are the twists, etc. Try the different themes in the sprint reviews as well. And most importantly, most of the teams are always demonstrating but not giving it to the stakeholders or customers. So you tell what is it, where is it, and give them the share. So they try it live so that you get the literal feedback. What is the experience that your customers or stakeholders are having? And seek the feedback in the emojis first, then they will elaborate. Just to give a different touch to it. Retrospectives, very, very important for the continuous improvement. So I have come up with many techniques. These are not few of these may be available online, but a few are added by me. Let me give you a glimpse of the things. I know we are running late. Maybe I'll just wrap it in a couple of minutes.
No, no, Vamshi,
So,
you can please continue. We have time till 8:30.
okay, sure. So change the template, change the team. Do not just go with what went well, what can be improved. Are you able to see my screen, the Excel spreadsheet?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
You're able to see.
Not able to see?
Able to see.
Able to see? Okay.
Yes. Can we get the slide view?
Able to.
Okay.
I think you are sharing the window instead of screen. That could be the reason.
Yeah, I'm not fully used to this Microsoft Teams, so maybe I'm sharing only the PPT. But yeah, let me zoom in this. Yeah. So try to change the template. Important question recently, which I have tried for the release retrospective. I have taken the theme of a movie. What is the genre when you compare our last release? Was that a horror movie? Was that a thriller? Was that a simple humor, family drama? So compare your release, compare your sprint with the genre of a movie, and what are the twists? What are the highlights? How was the climax? Which means, are the team members rushing towards the sprint review in finishing the items? Why is the reason that we are focusing on it? Because that will impact the quality. In the rush of finishing the items, we will not be focused on quality. So how is the climax? So genre, twist, highlight, climax. You can also consider cricket as a theme. What were the sixes? What were the wides? What were the outs? And truth or dare, truth, care, dare, share. You can play with this. And again, most importantly, evidence-based management, data-driven retros. Be prepared for your retrospectives. Come up with some data. How are our committed versus completed percentage in the last 3 sprints or 5 sprints? What is our reaction time, which means when the story is ready to be picked versus when exactly are we planning? Are we refining the story during our sprint planning, which means the reaction time is 0, which means team cannot size it effectively. They may not be able to dig deep on the complexity. They may not be able to identify the dependency. They may not be able to aware about the unknowns, the uncertainties, the overall effort. So the reaction time 0, which means you are refining the story during planning, which should be avoided. The backlog health is not good, not healthy. And reaction time is, let's say, 90 days, 100 days. Is that good? Any answers? A reaction time for a story, we are having 100 days or 180 days of a reaction time. A user story is ready to be picked, lying in the backlog for 100 days, 200 days, not pulled into a sprint.
No,
Is that
not
good?
a good sign. Not a good sign.
Not a good sign.
It's not a good.
0, yeah, right. 0 is not a good sign. Negative number, which means pulling stories into the sprint, endangering the sprint goal, not a good sign. Hundreds and hundreds of reaction time days is also not a good sign, which means market dynamics may change. We are not focusing on the latest priorities. We are not discussing with the customer what are their latest wishes, needs, and wants. Measure the cycle time, have the average cycle time of not just the features or epics, but also the user stories. Very, very important to measure the cycle time of a user story, because if you observe, I can show some interesting stats. Maybe I may not be able to share now, but this will be an interesting fact. Measure the cycle time of your user stories within a sprint. Most of the user stories average cycle time would be 9th or 10th day of the sprint, which means all of your majority or all of your user stories are getting completed on the 9th day or 10th day, which means either that could impact quality, they will be rushing, or we are following waterfall within a sprint. Analysis followed by development, followed by testing, followed by bug fixing, and then demonstrating, which means waterfall within a sprint. We are not having that iterative incremental delivery within a sprint. How can we fix that cycle time? By having work in progress limits within a sprint. Focus only on top 1 or 2 user stories within a sprint, have entire team work on it, knock it out, get the early feedback, move on to the other stories. You will at least have 1 or 2 stories with lesser cycle time, the advantage, faster feedback within the sprint. Uh, be prepared, generate some data, how many customer defects are there for the last sprints or for the last releases, measure the defects ages, etc. Not limited to this. In your context, with respect to your product customer, measure that results in customer satisfaction. One very good acronym which I've learned from my mentor, metrics definition, measure everything that results in customer satisfaction. If something out of this is not resulting in customer satisfaction, kick it out, not needed. We are agile because we have to satisfy the customer. So metric stands for measure everything that results in customer satisfaction. So this is the way you can break the monotony in Scrum events, and these are the ways where you can change your sprint reviews, backlog refinements, daily scrums, and measure your psychological safety, team health assessment, happiness index, have the one-on-one connects with the team members, connect with the customers, see if they are lacking intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, importance of finished product, importance of value, etc. And above all, if your teams are not having any of these smoking signs, good, but you need to prevent those, because from the childhood we have been hearing this learning that prevention is better than cure. So before your team are exhibiting these smoking behaviors, try to prevent those. If your teams are already showing the signs of these smoking behaviors, try to cure, not just by the band-aid, but with the root causes, fixing those root causes with the ways that I have shared, not limited to these, tweak these to suit your needs. And with that, what happens if you have a good Scrum team? Of course, Scrum is not an acronym, but I just try to flip it with a different acronym. Have that synergy. If you can fix these root causes, believe me, not more than this. Even if you can try to fix these root causes, you can have this healthy team. You can see the synergy in the team. You can see team members cherishing those moments, celebrating the small wins. They will be receptive to the feedback. You will have the teams which are unconventional in their approaches. They will be undaunted, courageous, and with that, your team will become magnificent. And this is how your team will have. You will have a healthy team, and you will have a healthy customer. With that, I'll open this to Q&A.
Thank you, Vamshi, for this wonderful session. And I will not waste much of the time in talking, and we can move on quickly for Q&A. I do see one question asked by Funmi. If you want to go ahead and ask, you can do that as well by asking Vamshi directly.
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Let me read out that question posted in chat. So there is this
Yeah.
question.
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me? Okay, my question is, why should the user's story be measured?
So measurement in the sense I was referring to the cycle time. If you can measure the cycle time, see, that's not mandatory. What I'm saying, see if it is adding value to you. As I said, measure everything that results in customer satisfaction or the stakeholder satisfaction. The one advantage that I can tell you is try to measure the average cycle times of your team's user stories across the sprints. And if your average is around 8 or 9 or 10 days, which means your team is delivering all the stories, most of the stuff on the last day of the sprint, which means directly or indirectly, there could be impact on the quality because they will be rushing towards the sprint. They would be trying to finish everything. So in the spur of delivering the things, they may miss the quality aspect. They may be compromising on the definition of done, etc. And also that's a sign of waterfall within a sprint. Why are we unable to deliver incrementally during the sprint? Why only 100% delivery on the last couple of days of the sprint? So the fix for that is try to discuss with the team, try to have work in progress limits at the start of the sprint. What
so,
could be the work in progress limit? You can discuss with
in your own opinion, when do you think is the best delivery of the user story before the end of the sprint? Will it be at the 8th day or when you have 2 week sprint, right? That's 14 days. Are you saying could it be at the 8th day or 12th day?
The early the better. Simple. There is no fixed deadline timeline as such, the exact number days as such, but as early as possible, just for you to get early feedback from the peer members or could be from the product owner, stakeholder, etc. If so, if there is any bug that is caught in your internal review, you can still fix it within the sprint, which means you are satisfying the customer, you are satisfying the internal stakeholders, you are watching for the quality of your product. You are iteratively, incrementally delivering within the sprint.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you for the question and the answer, Vamshi. Um, Anyone else would like to ask? I know we are running short of time. We have just 2 more minutes left. So anyone would like to ask anything or learn something from Vamshi?
Hi Vamshi, this is Navya. So
Hi,
I
Navya.
wanted to know, like, for the different Scrum events, right? There will be different tools that you use. So where can we find such agile tools? Like, are they open source or?
There are many open source tools where you can go for trial version, work with your leadership if you are having issues with those tools. If those are not giving desired value in your organization context, team context, go for the trial version, explore the tools, and then if you like it, work with the leadership and go for the pricing. And if I talk about Pega, at Pega we have tools that are built in-house, developed on Pega platform. We don't use Jira or any other tools, Rally or any other tools. We have a tool in-house developed. So there are many tools online. So whichever tool is working for you. So there is no standard rule that you can use um, a Rally, you can use Quality Center, you can use even spreadsheet. Whichever tool is working for you, you can continue that.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
I think Rohita has a question. Yes, Rohita.
Thanks, Ramya. Vamsi, wonderful session. It was true to every word that Ramya has been saying about you. Very crisp, very to the point, and I was really looking forward to your session ever since I got introduced to you through Ramya. Thank you for that. Coming to my question, I want to take this opportunity to get some help that I wanted for myself, for my team. I would like to understand from you, like, how would you go about bringing about implementing Scrum if you happen to work for a startup where there is a significant resource crunch, where the timelines are very very strict, and where there's no leverage for experimenting and for like introspection, because since it's a startup and for them it's all about get the money from the customers. That's how a startup can grow. So in such
Right.
cases, when you want to implement Scrum and bring about this change and all this that Scrum talks about, how would you do it, or how would you suggest it to be done?
Great question, and no single answer. There are multiple ways to deal with it. And Agile, we all say there is no one size that fits all, but I can give one solution that fits all. That is inspect and adapt. Believe me, this will work anywhere in the world. Inspect and adapt. Do not try to force fit Scrum. In your context, see if Scrum is working for you. If it is working, just continue with it. Inspect Scrum is working. Inspect if Kanban is working for you. If your backlog or if your changes or if your customer requests are too volatile, too disruptive, completely volatile in nature, not at all in a predictable lines, you are unable to build the backlog, go for Kanban. If you know the timelines, if you know what to deliver, if you know your customer wants, if it is in a fixed cadence, go for Scrum. Now coming to the other part of it, the experimentation, the learning part of it, it need not be days and days, it need not be hours and hours. Try to sneak in that time, maybe have 1 hour in a month, have the entire team sit in a conference room, see what is that topmost pain point in your product. When I say hackathons, when I say experimentation, need not be anything out of your product. See what is that most important thing that is to measure your product's usage index. What features are being used by majority of your customers? What features you have put in so much of effort but not being used by customers? No point in spending more time on those kind of features. So try to discuss on that, see what can you learn, adjust your backlog, adjust your ways of working. This is also an experimentation. This is also a continuous ways of learning. So it need not be just for the sake of it, days and hours. Whatever the time permits in your ways of working, try to inspect and adapt.
Thank you so much, Vamshi, because it gave me an assurance that I'm on track, because that's what I was been doing. I've been hired as a Scrum Master, but then if you go by the Scrum guide, I haven't put anything in place. We're just, we're just taking it day by day as it comes. We're trying to figure out what best is suitable for us. So talking to you and listening to you today, it gave me a small assurance that yes, we're on track. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks a lot. And who knows, we may not even have Scrum after 5 years or a decade. Maybe very least prescriptive and most empowered. No such framework as such. It's all about picking up the items and delivering as per customer wants. Take one item at a time. Work entire team focuses on it fully. Deliver it end to end. Could be the framework later. So it's all about inspecting and adapting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vamshi, for this wonderful session. And I mean, you truly walked the talk, and I was so excited to throughout this session. I just felt that this session shouldn't end, and that is not possible. And I am already getting DMs that please do not cut short the discussion, or do not cut short the videos while you upload and all of that. And it was great having you, Vamshi, and really looking forward to have more sessions from you if you are okay with. And I am sure that everyone has learned at least something or the other from this session. Thank you so much for your time, and so much efforts you have put in just your PPT, and you have covered so many things, and so many new things that I have learned. At least I can talk about myself. I have learned so many new things from here. Thank you so much for your time, Vamshi.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the opportunity. And as always, passionate. And I'm also a co-learner. And if you have any feedback, you can pass it on to Ramya, or you can also directly message me. And if you still have any more questions, clarifications, I'll always be happy to help. And thank you all for taking your time and joining this.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Vamshi.
everyone,
Thank you so much.
for joining this
That's
session.
all. Thank you.
And
Thank
if
you
you
very
have
much.
not yet joined or followed Vamshi, please go ahead and follow him on LinkedIn. He shares
Sure.
some great insights on LinkedIn too. So thank you everyone for joining
Thank
us today.
you. Thank you.
And
I joined very late, but is there any way one can get more of these materials? I joined very late, but I
so I
did
post
something.
all of this on my LinkedIn post or timeline. So we have
Okay.
3 sessions every Friday, but once a month we
Oh,
would be having a guest speaker session, and this was the first
oh,
session.
okay. Okay, noted. This is my first time. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for
So
joining.
this
Yeah.
material
Thanks,
also
everyone.
going to share, right, Vamshi?
Sorry,
This material, the PDF,
PDF?
you are going to share in the mail or somewhere?
Yeah, we can share that. Yeah.
Okay.
And also
Thank
I
you.
would be uploading this recorded video as well. So even Vamshi cannot share that because it's his personal thing. If he feels that it cannot be shared, I would be uploading a video of the recorded session, and you can find it on YouTube as well.
Sure, sure. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
I'll see what all I can share. And yeah, in case if something is missing, please reach out to me.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you
You
so
too. Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Thank you, Vamshi, Ramya, and
Thank you.
Vivek.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
Thanks.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Have a nice one.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
everyone. Happy weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.